was looking back at all the businesses we had in Zion. We had 4 tractor implement places.
What?
Tractor implement places. We had 3 car dealerships. We had 2 drugstores. We had 2 department stores. We had 5 grocery stores. We had 3 cleaners. Only 2 dentists. Excuse me. Well, barbers. 2 beauticians that I knew of at the time. And 1 Sanger baker. We had 4 feed stores.
4 what?
Feed stores. Feed stores.
4 feet, 4 what feet?
Feed stores.
Yeah.
I'm picking as loud as I can. And cafes, we had 4 cafes. We had 4 service stations. We had 1 bank, but we originally had 3 banks. 2 of them went under during the Depression. And 1 meat market and 1 bakery. And I'll start.
What about a shoe store?
Huh?
What about a shoe store? Did you have a shoe store? You said in there.
I'm gonna start across the railroad track. We had 2 gyms over there. One was right straight down, and then the other was go across the track to the left. Also, you can tell, we had a building, Santa Fe building, where Mr. Carr lived. You remember that? And he was
Yeah, that was on
in,
the east side of the track,
he was on the east side of the track.
down.
Yes.
North.
And he was a supervisor of maintenance on the railroad track.
Section foreman house.
Yeah.
That's where they lived.
And of course, on this side of the railroad track, we had the loading docks, the cattle pens, and the station. The loading docks were used for bringing in implements and cars. Cattle, a lot of cattle was shipped out of here.
Cotton.
Cotton, yes, cotton, definitely. But it was very important to have the railroad here. I'm going to start with the south side. We had the light plant, the water tower, and the little jail underneath. I don't think anybody ever was in it. Nobody would want to be in it. And then next to that was Jack Hollingsworth welding shop. And I don't know who was had it before him.
Strickland.
No,
Yeah,
Cleo
it
was
was a
that.
black
Cleo was well, I ain't got to him.
Hang up there.
Was this on the corner?
Huh?
Was this on the corner you're talking about his shop?
No, it's right past
The power
power plant.
plant? Okay.
And then Cobbler came in and took over after that. Now, Cleo Strickland had the blacksmith shop there. And he also worked in the power plant. And we had,
And McNeil
yeah, Luther,
was a blacksmith.
Luther. Was it Luther McNair?
No, I think his son was Neil, and I think he was a junior. So it must have been Neil McNeil, and he married Cuba. Her daddy was the Santa Fe agent.
Well, she married Cuba, was Cuba ready?
No.
No. Okay. Anyway,
McNeil, that was him, McNeil.
Cleo had that, and then Bill Ayers took over the blacksmith shop. And we had a vacant lot there, and then there was Benny Hughes put on the corner there, black welding shop, and all this. It eventually became Clifford Baker's cabinet shop, then wound up now Cody's and the Armor Place. Across the street there, started out with the Reddy's
Walker Place.
building there. It was kind of hotel,
It was a big old hotel.
big old hotel, and took care of the guests off the train.
And he had the post
Post office.
Yeah, right.
Was that where the
And
Seniors.
right there, just before Dr. Chapman's.
oh, okay, on the other side, okay.
And of course, Dr. Chapman's clinic was built later. And then we had Ms. Bircher's, which she had a rent house, rooming house there. And it was 2-story. Frank Bircher, her son, had the first photos, did the photos here, and he eventually went to TWU and had a shop there. Then Andy Wilson came back out of service, and he opened radio and TV repair shop. And I don't know what else was in that building.
I think
That was it.
all I know.
And then Tilford's lumber yard. Now get back on the other side of the street again. There was the Old Rock Building, which is now the Sullivan Senior Center. And at one time they said it was a saloon. But, and my dad was there in the feed store for a while there. And it eventually became a fire station and the domino hall for the city. And now it's a Sullivan Senior Center. Of course, we had Mr. Toon and Sanger Cougar. And all that building has been Judy Webster, CPA, Barton Bubbles, Candy Store, and Leslie Paragood. And then eventually, it was kind of an open area there, but Church Brothers, Buck and Johnny opened a Massey Ferguson, Massey Harris place there. There was another building right next to it that was intact when they built that. It was the first, and it's got a safe in it. It was, I think, one of the first banks. And if I'm not mistaken, George Hughes was running that bank. And it's clean environment, I think, has it now. The next building, Tom and OM Dental had the hardware store there. And Tom was the father of OM, Bud, Peggy, Al,
Ben,
and what, 4 girls, 5 girls? Something like that. Anyway,
well, one of them was your mother.
no,
I don't know.
that was Ora.
Oh,
That wasn't my mother.
oh,
That was Floyd.
Floyd, okay. Floyd. Yeah, there was a twin, boy and girl.
Yeah. And anyway, when Tom and them decided to close this, that's when OM opened his hardware store and furniture store. In that building also, at the back of it, I remember the Quisenberries had a laundry there, and they lived upstairs in it. That later became Art Seeley's locker plant, then Dick Reddy took it over, and it wound up being J.D. Hobbs and Associates.
Billy, I have a question. The cleaners that was in back of the hardware store, are above the Quisenberries? You said the Quisenberries had a
Laundry,
lot.
but they didn't have, they wasn't, I don't remember being there.
But it was the laundry.
Laundry, yeah.
Well, I had someone contact us about, they remembered when they were a kid coming to Sanger and their grandparents lived in a downtown building, and they can remember playing in the front window, and I've asked people and nobody can
Well,
remember.
I can tell another place where there's an upstart, it's up Third Street.
Oh, you'll
I'll
get to
explain that in a
Okay,
minute.
okay.
Okay, of course, the General's Brothers Hardware there, but, the city hall was right on the corner there, where the, Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola sign is. And it was, Ace Krausen was the city secretary, and also, John Richardson was, the JP. And behind that was, the fire station, and of course, the food hall. And then Armstead's took it over at Algo Supply, which is your.
Yep.
Okay.
That's my family.
And then, did, James take it over later?
I don't believe.
Somebody told me he did, and I don't
No, he
remember it.
didn't. No, he never did.
And then Louis Camelou had the electrical shop there, and it's been a Sanger Crisis Center, Findings, and the Sugar Winery. Now, on the other side of the street, going back to where the city hall is and the old post office, where the post office was, there used to be a rodeo ground there. All the way back where the fire station and everything, and it was rodeo. And when they finally closed it down, then carnivals would come and use that until the city hall was built. And the next building there was Pat Raw's Grocery. He eventually moved just north of Cody's on Elm Street and had his grocery store there. And when he passed away, David took it over as a radio and TV repair place.
And he had the candy kitchen in front.
Yeah.
Billy, right there where the rodeo pins were, that first building, that brick building there, and it's still there. I think there's a barbecue place there.
Yes, that's
Marlboro
one.
Barbecue.
That's one that was Pat Raw's.
Well,
Grocery.
before then, that was the first picture show.
Oh, was it?
Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones had that, that was the picture.
I haven't seen anything on that.
And then, when we had the rodeo, Ethel, one of his daughters, went there and put in a snow cone machine. Right there next to where the rodeo was. There wasn't no picture show there anymore. The son had gone up the street and put in a place of movies that talked.
Could you repeat that?
Snow cone standing there.
She's talking about.
And they had the rodeo, it's one of the next snow cone.
Would you,
Ethel Brewer.
would you believe I have a horn that was broke off of one of the steers that I made into a horn? Oh,
Billy, could you repeat what Eileen said so they can hear that?
The movie theater, when I was a kid, I saw Rin Tin Tin, the movie Rin Tin Tin, at the theater on the south side.
really?
That was really great.
She was talking about where the barbecue place is, it's the first movie theater there.
On the south side,
No,
south side of the park,
no, it's on the north side,
Outside of Walden.
Different one,
different one.
different one.
different ones.
So, there were two, because when I
No,
went,
there's only one,
One
the
at a
other
time.
one closed down.
Which side was it when you went to see Rin Tin Tin?
It was on the south side of the
Well,
park.
that's the one that,
We'll get there.
we'll get to that in a few
We're up
minutes.
there.
Oh, I see.
This is the barbecue.
We're not there yet, we're still a block and a half away.
Oh,
And then, of course, Con Clements took over after Pat Crawl, and then Nana's Tea Room, Texas Smoke Barbecue, and Father Barbecue. The next was two buildings there. The first one was Buckaloo's Furniture Store. And then The Peggy Gentle was there. That was his second place he was. And then, Charlie Cocker took it after Peggy moved from there. And then the Sanger Flores, Denton Savings, and then Bill Kincaid's attorney's place. That covers both sides of that block.
During the late fifties, where the Coca-Cola sign is there, that you said at one time was a city hall,
Yeah.
it was Energy Gas had service in the front of that. If
Did
you
they
were farming, you bought butane or propane, that's where they operated it out.
Did they have it after the city hall?
Oh, sure, because the city hall was built, I think, in about 53 or 55.
Okay.
And it was after the city hall, and it was just 2 or 3 people, and that's where you could order your butane for your farm or for your home.
My cousin, boy, is the city secretary at the new building.
I remember somebody's phone's going off.
I want to say somebody's car.
Your phone, you got a phone?
Huh?
You have a cell phone?
Mine's down.
It went off.
Mine's down. But it's down. But Billy, right there on the corner there, well, go ahead, maybe I'll think of it.
All right, I'm going south from on 3rd Street.
Yeah.
Now, there's Dick Chatfield Implement, and then Fred Johnson had the feed store there. Then Junior Davis had the welding shop there, and I think somebody else was there, wasn't there? But John Galladay in one of those places.
John Galladay had his shop. The only one I knew that he had was over there in part of Henry Cooper's building after he quit having a job.
Well, somebody told me they thought he was there, but I didn't remember, so.
Do you remember where it
John
was?
Deere place, where,
Oh, he was working at John Deere place.
the back of Henry Cook, I call it back then.
Where
Came
is
from
it?
The old post office was on Rocker Street. And so it's in my book, the government decided they were going to build a post office, a new post office in Stein. And then they were gonna turn around and lease it to the city. Then the city would have to pay rent on it until it was paid for. And the mayor, he said, no, we'll build our own post office and then we'll lease it back to the government. Tilford Wilson.
Tilford Wilson? or-
Tilford Wilson, so that's exactly what they did. And that made the Dallas Morning News. That never happened before.
And they paid
And
cash
that
for it.
is now still belongs to the city.
Tilford always believed in paying cash, and they paid cash for that.
Are you going down on side street and off the main?
Yes, that's what I'm fixing to do now.
But the Smiths on that furniture store.
I'm not there yet.
Down,
I'm not there yet.
but that's on the main street there.
Well, I'm not there yet.
Well, Billy, you
Take it one
might
street
tell them,
Yeah, one out there.
you're, let's
I
see,
think you just finished.
you're in this block now. This is the old city hall and post office.
And I'm just,
Here's the lumberyard.
and then I'm going down the street here, and that's the Dick
Past the whole
Chatfield.
time,
That's Dick Chatfield stuff.
past the corner.
Yeah.
And across the street from Dick Chatfield was a house. That house is still there. It was a Sanger Telephone Company, and Ms. Riley had that. And she eventually sold that to Mr. Nunley out of St. Joe, and he also bought the one in Decatur at the same time.
Is that house, did they just build around it and improve it?
No,
It is the original?
it's still there. It's the same house.
Same way.
Telephone switchboard was in the front room there, and all the connections to it was behind it when you walked in the doors. One that I, yeah. All right, on the north side of Third Street, there were two buildings. One was a single-story building, one was a two-story building. The first one, Dan Davis had his watch repair place. Next one, don't remember anything to be in it except the cabinet shop. And Jan McClendon lived upstairs, he and his mother lived upstairs.
Which building, where are we now?
Point it out.
That's it, where this is right now.
Oh, well,
That's where these buildings were, right here.
Right now, this
None of
is-
these, none of these are here, then. This was,
Here's the old bank,
yeah,
and here's the street going north.
but these buildings are all new, so those buildings have been torn down.
Where is the house you were talking about?
Down south,
You're
right?
talking about the
Down there, right
building,
here,
yeah.
right
Is
here.
that the Yates, is that the Yates' on that? I mean,
Huh?
is that someone
I don't know who owns that now.
used to?
It's where Charles Kessler used to live.
So are you going to, when you have that walking tour thing, have sheets that go over a basic thing and then like in the nursing one where you just put veins and muscles and bones over, you know what I'm trying to say like that?
It'd probably be too expensive. I think we're gonna do something like this. And what we did is we identified building one and all the places, we wanna do them in order of the year, you know, like the first building, the first use of the building that we're aware of. And just list.
Of the existing buildings now.
Right.
That's what
Well,
I'm telling about, basically what I'm talking about now.
for instance, like here's where the hardware store that burned, we'll show that and we'll show what used to be there. It's just gonna be blank now.
But on the end of that, after those two buildings, Bob King had his feed store there. Now, on the west side of that street, right across from Bob King, my dad had a feed store there for a while. Reason why he moved, Roy Spratt had the Alice Chandler implement place there. There was two buildings, and so he bought the building that my dad was in and expanded his Alice Chandler place. That's now Cody's air conditioners.
Point that out on the map.
So tomato,
I know.
yeah. Show, where are those around? 11, it's 11, right?
Yeah, number 11, I think,
Right here,
yeah.
these right here, these two buildings right here are one, actually one.
I
That's
couldn't see
also
it.
with H Tomato Place, H&H Tomato. And next is the Masonic Hall. Downstairs, first thing I remember about it was a two-lane bowling alley. And it didn't last that long, I don't think.
Bill, when we were tearing that down, there was some old leather saddle shop or something in that building. Where there was an old leather sewing machine.
Which one?
That, where the,
Bowling,
no, where you said bowling alley is.
where the lower part of
Well,
the
the Masonic
Masonic
Lodge,
Lodge.
bottom floor of the Masonic Lodge, when we go that out, there was an old sewing machine that they sewed leather with, and on the wall there, it had something about the leather.
Well, Tommy McDaniel moved in there.
Now, that was before, way.
It was before that, yeah. But I didn't know anything about what else went in there.
This was way before my day.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Billy, that Masonic Hall,
Yeah,
the lower thing used to be vacant, and when the cotton season was on, the Mexicans would come in there and live in there while they picked the cotton
oh, really?
out around. Yes,
I wasn't aware of that.
yes. I remember that.
What was the building before the Masons moved in?
For what?
The Masons moved in there.
Well, they've always had the upstairs.
Yeah, I know, but the lower part, do
The
you
lower
know?
part has been, Tommy McDaniel, it's been the bowling alley, it's been,
That's been named.
several places, evidently, several places. As you see, some of these merchants have moved from one business to another. I mean, when I bring up their name, they've either been just moved there or moving from there or whatever. Of course, Tom McDaniel eventually moved from there over to where Grace Bible Church is now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Ella Warren, well, the post office there, John Nicholson was the postmaster. When he went into service, Lee took it over for the time being until he got back out of service. And then Ella Warren had her insurance agency there. She and Curtis passed away with Ella. Yeah. And that covers that street. Now we're going back on the main street again, over on the south side. All right. Where the Sullivan Center is now, Tommy McDaniel's dad had the grocery store there. He passed away, Tommy took it over, and he was there, and then he went across, if I'm not mistaken, he went up the street, across the street, and Peggy Channel wound up eventually taking it over.
You said the Senior Citizen Center, you mean the Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah.
Where the Chamber of Commerce.
Excuse me, Chamber of Commerce. And then, that's, as far as I know, Peggy was there, and then it wound up with the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know what was in there from that time on. Now, the next building was a cleaners for many years. My uncle had it, Joe Ezel had it, then Red Sinclair took it over, then Lockett Cherry took it over, then Glenn C. Wilson took it over, and then
Troy Stinson had a store in there too.
who?
Troy Stinson.
No, I'm not there yet.
Oh, you're not sure?
Don't wreck me, Kylie. And then there's boutiques there. Now, from that building, and there's an upstairs, goes up, what was the old opera house.
Oh,
And they had performances, people, traveling performers would come in. And it was a real nice building upstairs. It was, eventually became a garment factory. And I remember the manager of it was Ross Ferris.
Is this the loft that the Springers have, or Jeff?
That's the Frank's, yeah, that's the one.
Well, when Mr. Wilson, he kind of closed that cleaners down, and he got the opportunity to do the bus depot in Benton. And John Springer's wife ran a gift shop in the front of that place, probably, I would say, in the late 70s, 75 to 79. They called it the picket fence. And she'd go to market and buy wholesale things and had a gift shop in that spot that was Cherry's Cleaners. In front of it there for about 3 or 4 years. And I don't remember after that who used it. Ben Finley used it for a glass place for many years.
Really?
The same here in glass, Ben Finley bought it and had it.
Well, after I left, I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, it was there from the 80s up through about 2010 for 20 years for a while. Go ahead, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Then right next to that was the Ed Chestnut Barber Shop. And then Sue Cook's Sock Shop, who just passed away last weekend. And then H.R. Block. And, let me see what. The Banner Store, the Art Gallery. And now, the next building was Troy Stinson put in a dry goods store. It's real nice.
don't
He
forget
would,
about Lowe's.
I ain't got the most yet. Don't rip me out of it. Anyway, Troy had a good dry goods store there. And from there, let me find where I'm,
Did you say dry goods or dry cleaners?
dry goods. It was a big building.
You talking about that rail farm building?
No.
No, it's pretty, not the Wilpon building, no.
Next.
That
No,
was
not that, I'm sorry, the one.
the Woodman of the World building.
Yeah,
Down below.
Norman Cook, Sue's husband, had a laundry on there in the sixties.
Well, I ain't got there either.
Pardon me,
I ain't got there yet.
keep on keeping on.
Okay, let me,
It's gonna be a big brochure.
my car extension was there. Then Monroe Davidson put in a grocery store there. And then he sold it to Bob and Harold A. King. And then Norman Cook had his coin laundromat there. And then Burlap and barbed wire is there now. I don't know what, anything else is there. Three buildings on the other side of brick buildings. First one was Mose Crockett Candy Store.
Can you point to where you're talking about now?
That's,
He's on the south side.
He's gone south on us?
right, first,
It would be,
right here. This,
See, right in here,
right in here.
right in here.
Richard, will you keep pointing?
It's basically the parking lot.
Is it back?
It's Dave's parking
Is it
lot.
Bates parking lot?
Yes.
Yeah, where the bacon parking lot is.
It's
Okay.
It's, Mose had that, and then after he passed away, then, there was Ethel Payne had a cafe. Let me see, who else?
what about Kemp? Where was Jack Kemp's, restaurant?
I ain't got that.
Okay. Okay.
And, Ethel Payne, and then Sullivan Cafe. I don't know which one of that. And then the next to that was Jeff Flowers Shoe Shop. And the next building was, Ray, was right on the corner there. Ray Kemp's had his cafe there. Peggy Gentle's first grocery store was there. And that was where my dad's last feed store was when he passed away.
When you
And
said,
May Everett
go ahead.
had her variety store there.
When you said Jeff Flowers Shoe Store, was it?
Shoe repair.
repair.
Shoe repair.
Dave Pillars was in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's like,
Was he there somewhere?
he had a restaurant after he left off the square by the museum, I mean, the library. He was down, he was in this,
Right there about down Betty May.
yeah, he was right in here where the grocery store had been.
All right.
He was there when I was in high school.
Was it in the brick building?
Yeah, yeah.
He was next door to where the barber shop was. His cafe was in a little narrow strip
Oh,
right
right, where
there.
that Chestnut Barber Shop was?
Yes, and there was a little cafe
Okay.
right there.
Well, I saw where he was downtown, but I never did find out where he.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Are you writing all this down now?
She did.
Billy's got a good list, and I'm adding to it as people speak.
Bill,
Watson was in there
Yeah,
too.
Emmett Watson, Emmett Watson had a barber
Barber shop
shop.
right by Betty
It's that
May.
little building like where it was adjoined the west side of that Woodman of the World building. That was where you said there was a little restaurant or something?
Well, there was, Most Rockets Candy Store, and then it was a restaurant there, two restaurants, well, a restaurant, and then, Ethel Payne, and then, Sullivan, I don't know what Sullivan.
Emmett Watson was, I think, the last thing, it was a barber shop.
Well, it was where, Ed Chestnut was.
Before they, he was in that tiny little place that was stuck on the side of the Woodman of the World building. It was just.
That must have been where the, cafe was.
That was probably right before he retired. He was semi-retired at that point.
Yeah, he retired out of that building.
Yeah, he could work a couple of days a week or something. You know.
That's right.
And what did you say Ethel Payne did in the store? What
She
was
had a
it?
cafe there.
A cafe, okay.
Bill, there's an interesting thing about that Woman of the World building. Norman Cook had it somewhere there, and Springer bought it from him. But during the time he had it, the deed was done, it had a John L. Sullivan deed. Everybody knew what a fine attorney Mr. Sullivan was, but that was a unique deed because somebody owned the east side of that building and the west side of that building, but there was a piece in the middle, I think, where that barber shop was. And then they owned the top and the east side and the west side, but it was that little cubicle, not part of the condo in the middle, but they did not own, and that deed encompassed all that complicated
When Troy Stinson had all that
yeah.
area, and then he had upstairs on the back part of it, he had, where he mezzanine for selling stuff too.
Well, how did they take care of that situation?
I don't remember that, I mean, they just.
They bought
Whoever had the biggest gun.
I'm going back across the street, go back to the First National Bank building. And it became the Sanger Municipal Building now. Pansy Freeman had the drugstore there. Dr. Chapman had his first office in the back of that. Pansy sold it out to A.M. Acker. Howard Masterson bought it. Connie Mass, I think, got it after that, and I don't know who wound up.
Tweety Jones.
Jones,
Terry Jones.
Yeah.
and that's,
Dr. Sullivan was in
Yeah,
there.
Dr. Sullivan in the back of that.
Oh, yeah, I'm scarred, right?
Was there,
Yeah, I do
was
too.
there
I thought
any,
Nick's car.
and that eventually became Big Mama's Cafe and Eugene's. Now, the next door was T.H. Avery's grocery store. John Seals wound up taking it, I believe, I think after Mr. Avery died, it was sometime before he opened up the grocery store there. Had the Sanger Florist, Reynolds Center, and Red Barn Quilt Shop.
Wait a minute. Was Al,
Who?
Smith? I mean, is White, all those stores.
Was White's Auto, yeah, that's right, I remember now.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't remember when it was there though.
When was it, Joe, about
It
1963?
was in the early sixties.
They must have been after John Seals' grocery store.
Oh, yeah, it was.
as a quick note, I was told that Frito chili pie was invented at John Seals grocery store. They said the Frito man brought the groceries and Mrs. Seal had some chili cooking in the back room. And she said, I'm just gonna put that on my Fritos, and
That's when it started.
that's when it began.
That's right.
And then we had old William Reynolds, when he and Tom, when Tom and him separated, he went over there and started the infant place, which had International Harvester, and what the divided part of it was his hardware, his furniture store. And everybody went there because that was the only hardware store like it anywhere around. Now, I'm going south on 4th Street. That is OM General Hardware, our warehouse. And on the end of that one side, when the oil business was pretty good here in town, Ray Kemp's son had the Kemp's oil well supply there. And of course, as you know, right now it's Babes. And I don't know what it was. I think it was a auto repair shop there for a while.
I went to gymnastics there.
I think your cousin had a
That's all.
Oh,
One
we
time,
used it
Bill,
for like
at
a
one time, there was a
warehouse.
mechanic shop back in, I think, at OM General, where they had the Mun General ran a garage on tractors there. where Baines is.
Well, see, that's where when they shipped the stuff in on rail, that's where they assembled most of all that.
And then you said, well, right to the east of that, end of that building, where Baines is, that's where Junior Davis had his shop, and that's where the feed store was.
Yeah.
Shops and feed
Well,
store was.
I had that on the next street there.
You had it on the
Oh, but below Dick Chatfield.
Did you hear her? She took gymnastics also in that building.
Oh, really?
And baby, yeah.
What year?
95?
Before bags, huh?
I don't remember.
And then you go north on 4th Street. And the building up there was Sullivan Funeral Home. That's where their offices and everything were. And they eventually moved down to where the funeral home was.
And wasn't it also a furniture store? That's what I've been, isn't that right, Eileen? It was a furniture store.
Well, Sullivan
with a
had
furniture store.
they had a furniture store too.
Yeah,
Right. there.
furniture and funeral.
And then part of that was Lee Amos had butane. Then Tom McDaniel wound up, that was his last place as a grocery store. And then that's been Napa Auto, and now it's Grace Bible.
Wait a minute. Norman Cook had her washateria.
That's right, yeah.
Who had what?
Norman Cook.
Norman Cook had a washateria.
On the north end.
On the north side, on the north side.
That was before he moved over on Baldwin Street, on Whole Street.
Okay.
The north side of what building?
Grace Bible.
Where that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you about the north side of the next street, the next block. That's the park. That's a real simple one. But, all right, we're going with the Wilpon Dry Goods, who eventually sold to Jess Smith Dry Goods. And it's got several businesses in it. I could name a bunch of them, but anyway, the next building was Mattie Mae. Everybody had a variety store there.
She was in the building.
That was way back
She
when.
was across the street in the building, a little shack.
I know, but she moved from there.
Did she move out of there?
Yeah, she moved out there. I used to buy toys in there, I know.
Maybe that's the.
But,
And thanks for working on it.
and then that's where Sanger Silver and Gold is, and I don't know what was in there after she left that door. And then there was upstairs, and that was a domino hall where,
At one time, Mr. Long had a watch shop up there.
really?
Who
In
did?
the back.
Well, now, Mr. Long had in the building back behind,
There was a.
where you went up the back.
He went up the back, and well, there's a stairwell, I mean.
Yeah, well, this is a different stairway.
Well, this on the Wilpon
But
building.
but on the Wilpon building, yeah, I forgot about that. That was also, Mr. Long had that watch repair up there, and also, then some kids used to go up there back years ago. That,
Henry Cooper was very instrumental, along with another of the other city fathers, to have a place for us to go and gather. And I had, I believe it was my 14th birthday party or something up there. There were like 3 of us girls celebrating a birthday in January. We had a big party up there. There was a jukebox, in one other of the rooms upstairs. There were a snooker table and a pool table. And that was a gathering place for us.
Wasn't there a soda fountain?
And a roll upstairs.
Yeah.
that was in the back, you had to go up the back stairs.
Yeah.
That's where we used to go there.
I used to try to go up, and they keep me honest, and, so, I said it was for teenagers.
You all.
But there was also some.
Okay, then the next building was Buckley, well, I think out of Mattie Mae's, the building, Buckley's Furniture moved there when the other building burned out. and that certain something shop, crackers there. And then Sam Freeman had the drugstore there. Now, I'm trying to think of the guy's name that had it before Sam had it. But, I think I got a note here somewhere, but I can't remember. I had a deal from a guy that wrote a deal in 1980 that went back to 1915 and 1920. So, but anyways, Sam had that with Dr. Sullivan in the back, and then Buck Bailey bought it from him.
What was Sam's last name?
Sam Freeman.
Sam, oh.
See, Sam and Pansy Freeman were brothers, but one had one on one end of town, the other on the other end of town.
Yeah. And Buck Bailey's was called Palace, right? Palace Drug.
Yeah.
And
And then Lillian's drugstore, I don't know what she had there. Was it drug or what was it?
Oh, it was everything.
That they were-
Cosmetics, jewelry, hose,
Soap,
pinball machine.
Snack shop, we back to the kids.
They had soda where you could get drinks and that's not very much.
And then, it wound up being the purple umbrella there. The next building, I remember Walter Harvey Grocery.
Yeah.
And I used to go up there on Saturday morning because they'd get the cakes in. Walter's wife would say, "Oh, here comes my cake, kid." I always buy a cake. But they sold that, I think, to Hearst Brothers. Lawrence and Ed wound up with that. And they, no, by the way, I have to mention on the back, another block back, Mr. Hearst had his meat market there, which about next to Ed Chester's barber shop, and but that was a meat market there. And the best meat in the food in the country.
Well, that's how Hearst started, was a meat market,
Yeah.
right? And then they eventually started selling groceries.
And then the next is the Texan Theater. Now, that was called, before that, it was called the Liberty Theater. And another guy owned it, and then
The
Gene Hughes' dad bought it.
The Joneses,
Was it Jones?
yes.
But,
He had that place down there, but next to the rodeo, where the rodeo was. That's where I was talking about, where Ethel had her snow cones.
Yeah.
Well, that was originally, and it's now the Bolivar Barbecue.
yeah, right.
That was Old Man Jones's first picture show.
Was that T.H. Jones?
That, well, Carlos was his son. Ethel and Edith were twins, daughters.
Okay.
Jones. Ethel Jones married a brewer. Okay? Then the son, Carlos, comes up the street and puts in a thing called talkies, movies that talked.
Yeah, that was for the Texan. Then they named it the Liberty Theater.
Yeah.
And then when
And he
Gene
later
Hughes'
sold it
dad
to
bought
Gene
it,
Hughes,
and
and he
it
went to Weatherford.
I think Bob Good was the first one to run it, Jack.
who
Bob Good.
Yeah, well, J.M. Sims was the first one that I know. He was a couple of years younger than you.
Yeah. He was same age as my brother.
Okay.
Did the Smiths not, Frank Smith not ever own that theater? I thought he owned that theater at one time.
No.
I know Calvin Harbison owned it
Yeah,
at one time.
Calvin had it after Gene
Yeah.
got rid of it.
And then didn't Gene get it back?
Huh? Yeah, he got it
He
back.
got it back after Calvin sold it back to him
Yeah.
or something, yeah.
And then, of course, the Radio Shack's been in that building. Now the Sanger Eye Care place is there. There's a little office building right there between the one on the end. That was, Lee Ames had a butane office there first. And then Edith Austin had a beauty shop there. Now it's Lee's barber shop.
Wait a minute, there's another, you're gonna need to allow another.
Ashcraft had insurance there too.
Well, I thought those were there again.
Really?
Swindle, Kenneth Swindle's dad ran it.
Oh, really?
Right.
John Swindle.
Yeah.
He came over from Alvarado and bought that, went to the movie theater, put in flat floor and made it a White's hardware store in the middle '70s.
John Swindle.
John Swindle. Called it King's.
And what
Did
kind
big
Big on white on that, White's Hardware.
I don't know who owned it.
No, Ken Swindle's dad on that.
John Swindle.
John Swindle on
Big.
it. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And then we had Alvin Brown on the corner there. And he had his garage there, but he also, after World War II, he had a tire and appraisal dealership there in workshop for a while. He also sold, I think it's Hoover TVs out the front. So we go there on Saturday night, sit there and watch wrestling matches.
Now, the original was the Laguerre Motor Company, where Albert Brown's was.
What?
It was Laguerre Motor Company. They sold Fords.
Well, Laguerre, Lash and Murph is one that had the Model A's and Model T's too.
You are talking about next to drugstore, theater.
I hadn't got down to
Yeah, but you said Albert Brown's garage.
Yeah.
That's where Laguerre Motor was.
That's where he was first.
Yeah, there used to be gas pumps out in front of that building.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then
Yeah.
they sold your Ford dealer to the Chevy house. I didn't quite figure that
I
out,
don't know.
how you can sell Fords to a Chevy house, but that's the history we have.
Are you talking about the corner?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Bill, can I ask a question? Somewhere in this downtown, on the east side of downtown, there's a bakery. There's a lady named Mary John Wilkins.
I ain't got there yet.
I'll wait.
All right. Anyway, Alvin Brown's and then Guiding Hand Christian Academy.
No, Ashcraft was in.
Ashcraft,
Alvin Brown,
yeah. And he also had an insurance agency there.
Right.
Ashcraft did?
Yes.
Now, going south,
He had Germania, didn't he?
he's going south on the Fifth Street. We had, right behind the Browns, we had In-Laws Feed Store and Laguerre and Cooper. And then across the street was Burley Reddy's ice plant.
But wait, isn't that where they had those tractors, also behind Ashcraft's?
That's where Hank, Cooper and Laguerre, John Deere did.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's saying.
And then Burley Reddy, his ice plant, and he would hire these high school kids during the summer, take the door off the front, driver's side, and they deliver ice. And the ones that don't know it, there's a sign in the window, and it had 25, 50, 75, or 100 pounds. No, one of them was zero. And,
10, 15, and 20.
and so when they drove by, and they saw that sign in there, they knew they were supposed to drop so much ice in, and they would walk in the house and put it in the refrigerator.
When they, different colors was different sizes.
Yeah. It was one sign with, and you turn it the way you want it.
And they put it in the refrigerator, icebox.
Yeah, icebox, yeah. And then next to that, well, right on the corner from that was Clyde Laguerre's Texaco station. And then he, R.L. Odom had it after that, and then Whiteside Texaco. And there was a kind of tourist court there that had, five or six residents there. And you remember Kurt Rulo? You worked, with the railroad down there, he rode the little
No, it was the section,
section, signal.
Signal lane.
Yeah.
They did,
He took us around. But anyway,
right across the street from the Metro.
yeah, right there.
What's that?
That, where that tourist court right behind the Texaco station was.
And it was,
Tourist court or motel like, but it was residents. They had a kitchen and they had people live there. Bobby Clement lived there. On the north side, we got the park. And of course, across the street, Davis Cafe, Melcher's
paper,
Bakery,
right on the corner.
Mary John,
Milton.
Melton,
Nelson.
Nelson,
Nelson.
Nelson. And then, Butler Boston had the laundry there. And then
Cleanest town
Solomon,
I know.
well, that-
I've never heard of so many laundries.
a lot of dirty people around. And I don't remember, but, I think it's, Dennis Wendell called, cleaners. Was the cleaners.
Between Dennis Wendell and the bakery
Was cleaners,
was a little grocery store.
was it?
And that's where Mr. and Mrs. F.M. Reddy had a little grocery store.
Okay.
And
But,
they were between, and the bus stop, always the bus station stopped at
Yeah.
Dennis Wendell
So where are we on the map?
Barbershop.
This is the library.
Yeah.
There used to be a little white strip center,
Okay.
and the library was here, but I think wasn't the bakery
Bakery was right
Bakery
there.
here?
well, the corner was a cafe, and then the next,
So the little grocery store with Mr. and Mrs. Reddy.
and then, but it was up here next to Dennis Wendell's.
And then there was Dennis Wendell.
Yeah,
And it was a.
and there
And
was,
Alan Cherry was in the back.
Yeah.
And, he, that was where the railway bus stopped.
Simmons had his shoe shine stand there. And, Lockett Cherry had a dry cleaning
He
shop.
had that
Dennis
for
Wendell had his barber chair, and Alvin Cherry had a beauty shop.
right?
All three of
Well, Butler Boyston had the laundry first, and then Solomon's. Solomon had.
Billy, I think Melson Bakery was on the corner
Yeah.
before the, Davis had their
Really?
restaurant, yes. Cause I don't remember the bakery, but I do remember the Davis, restaurant down there.
Yeah,
And that's where Phil was sitting up, right?
I don't know.
No.
Which? I mean,
I
where
called
was
it,
Nelson? Where was Nelson? Oh, they were on the corner, or they were on the corner, okay.
and then wasn't Davis right next to that?
David
because-
got it after Nelson.
After,
Dennis was right in the corner also after him.
when Milton moved out, isn't that when it became the laundry?
No, it
No.
was Cliff's Cafe.
It was the bakery, what she's telling me, the bakery was there where Davis Cafe.
Okay. Okay.
And in the back of the bakery, there was a little brick building.
Right.
That was where he baked the bread.
I wonder what that building was for.
That was actually the
Okay. We had gas stations there. It was, Bud Jones had that. Somebody told me that he used to have a Gulf station. I don't remember him having a Gulf station. I remember Butler
The
Boston.
station was the next station.
But
You
Butler-
could start out in one end of Sanger and go through there on 77, and you could buy gasoline at every major gas station in the nation had a station in Sanger, and some of them were independent, and Bud General was independent.
And, but Butler Boston had the Gulf Station.
Butler Boston had the golf station.
And he wound up with Earl Chapman. taking it.
Sinclair,
But, Bud Jennings, wound up, J.M. Sims wound up with that one.
yeah,
And that's Earl Chapman, and then,
Butler Boston had the golf.
yeah, I'm trying to think who was after Earl Chapman.
And we didn't have to pump our own gas.
Bill George, Bill George. That was, Miss Virgie George's,
The Gulf Station?
yeah.
Who was the guy that worked for Earl Chapman there? The big, you remember? I worked at when I was in high school.
Willis,
R.P. Willis.
R.P. Willis,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's Chettle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he used to work for Billy Earl
Billy Earl.
out at 35.
He kept me from
Yeah,
getting tickets
okay.
one day.
Well, I worked for him back in 1954,
Yes.
55.
and wound up, the Dandy Donut, and across the street was Dave Feller's Cafe there.
Yeah.
Now, if you go on down the street there, Creepy King had GI Law Company,
Right.
which Billy Earl wound up with it later on. And then we had the North End Cafe. Sanger Motor Company was across the street. That was, Ed Petty and, Buddy Wolfenbarger.
Yeah.
And then, Buddy sold out to Ed,
Well, Willie took it over.
and Willie took it over after that. And then, if you go out,
And moved out on.
Bolivar Highway, you go out to Bolivar Highway, where Willie Keith eventually moved. Before that, Jack Perry had bought out International Harbor dealership, and he was there. And I don't know what anything else was there before that. Do you all remember? I think he's the one that started that.
And I think all those buildings back in that day, if you had franchise, you built the building to their specs. So if you go around town in Texas, for instance, if you go to Justin, used to have one that was almost a carbon copy of the one here.
There's one in Justin, right?
And this is the best I can remember. And I'm sorry if I missed something, but that's the best I can. I've been here over a year since I.
Right north of where, Dave Feller had his little, right north of the Pink House. You know, where Dave Feller had his little.
There was a service station.
There was a service station. I
But
never heard.
It was already tore down when I was a kid.
It was torn down a lot.
There used to be an ice house right behind the pink house. Who owned that? The ice house that was behind the pink house? Klein. It's on the cover of our book.
There was a
Nice
station
house.
there at one time.
That
Yeah,
Well, I understand, but I don't.
It's called.
Well, behind, the Sanger Motor Company going around the curve there. There was a service station there. And he had the overhead pumps.
That's where
And
they.
you pump the gas up to the top, and then you fill it up.
Yeah, I'll put it.
Thank you.
You gotta go to town to the bank.
I went south.
On the west side?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Johnny Lewis Cafe. And then there was an old service station there that Creepy King's mother run a beauty shop there.
No,
Where's
she
that?
had a beauty shop in her dining room there, right?
But she had it there for a while.
Well,
I remember seeing that, there was a white frame brick building just next to John Lee, in the middle of the block.
Yeah, that was the old service station.
That's where Miss Forrester's nephew, what was his name, Rusty Johnson. Remember he lived there? He was the nephew, Miss Forrester, and he lived in there. He used to
Well,
come
he
to the
did live
drugstore.
with Best Foster, and then he wound up doing that.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came in and he never
And
taught
then-
baseball. 'cause he
Then
never-
next to that was King Jerry's record shop and auto repair. And that's.
Is that where the police station is right now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Bill, the original John Wheeler's Cafe, there's a picture of that down there in that barbecue restaurant, if you look. One of those pictures that Springer's got on the wall down there. And it's just a kind of little shotgun There, that thing burned, and then they built a hollow tile building to the south on part of that lot and extended that, but there was this big, huge house, did that belong to the Gary?
All right, that was,
That's Dr. Howard rooming house, that's where
yeah,
I live.
that,
Dr. Howard.
what was, his brother-in-law?
What?
Bryson,
Yeah,
the
Then-
Brysons.
you know, Mrs. Bryson.
Was a sister to,
John.
Yeah,
They were
that was her grandfather, Dr. Howard. Yeah,
John and Leila's Cafe, which is now
the museum.
museum. And right behind that was a big two-story house that needed a job of paint real bad. That was where the Garys lived. Mr. Gary worked for O.M. General. His salesman and mechanic. And that was a rooming house. That's where we lived, with the rooming house when we came back to Spain.
And that's the power shop now?
that's where the power shop is now.
And that is where
Well,
Bill General
part of it,
lived.
because there's a vacant lot back there, and they used to, skating ring would come in every once in a while.
Takes that up
I
there.
try that.
The power person.
I might have missed it, but David Royal had a candy kitchen.
Yeah,
Royal's.
Yes, the
Right.
candy kitchen.
yeah, it was, just, north of, Cody's air conditioner, right there.
Right next to the Nicholson house.
Yeah,
Right next
right
door.
next to John Nicholson, I believe.
I wanted to tell you, Pauline Bell, Dolores Cooper's mother, had the Coca-Cola sign redone a few years ago.
Oh, really? It's been there ever since I
It was
came in.
faded out and she paid to have it redone.
Do you know that the old Nicholson house had gas lights in it? I don't know whether it's still there or not, but they had gas lights because Lee carried me in there one day and showed me how it worked.
Next door to Dr. Rice.
Yeah, if you ever want to see a picture of Lee Nicholson, we have a great one in the museum, her and some gentleman, I think they were sweet on each other, but they never married.
No.
They're in an old horse and buggy, and she's got a great big hat on.
I was always afraid to go in there, but she'd just shoot me out every time I go in there for something. But, there's some beautiful old homes here, old homes that have a lot of history to them.
Yeah.
Some have gone by the wayside, they're still, they have a lot of history to them. Back up.